Sometimes in life, bad things happen. Hello, I'm Phyllis. See, hi. And I just wanted to tell you the way you prepare for bad things to happen in life is you think about what's the worst that could happen and you plan ahead so that if it does happen, you've got a plan. That's one way of lessening your fear. This seam ripper is a cope ahead. It's a tool, but it's a cope ahead. It's a plan of action if the worst thing happens. And the worst thing that happened is I made this too small for the tote bag, and I had to actually stop my video. But I'm not going to lose this material. I'm going to use this seam ripper or steam ripper. I made my stitches too tight. But I want to talk to you actually about how to use a seam ripper. That's one thing. If you can spread these two, if you can just get it started, that's the key to getting your seam ripper to work. And you want to get it started without tearing your material. You have to find a good place to get that first little thread. I'd stitched this so tight. These are if you've got, once you get it started, it's going to be so easy, but you got to get it started. So I'm just looking for any way that I can to get that first thread to give way. Well, I might as well talk to you about life and cope ahead. Sometimes things don't go plan. You have these big plans and you think, well, what if it doesn't happen? Or what if it doesn't go as planned? You got to have a plan of action. Sometimes the plan of action is simply trying to figure out what you're going to do if it doesn't go right. Look, I've decided to pick this side, and I'm going to pick this thread. This is seam rippers are multifunctional. If you can get it going, you can just go on down the seam. But okay, so you've got a big project, or you've got something that's important, maybe on your job. Maybe you've got a project. It's been a long time since I've worked in an office, but sometimes you get a project from your boss and you might not know how to do it. And you have to think ahead. What if I don't get it done? What's the worst that can happen if I blow it? And you don't think through all the possibilities of all the things there. Success! Now that I've got this here, once you get that started, you can just kind of rip-a-roody. Here we go. See this? I hope you can see this. This is kind of dark material. But once you get it started, it's easy to do. See? This is how you use a seam ripper. This part is the sharp part. That little knob is to keep you from poking your material. This is very sharp. It's a way of picking the thread until you can, like I was having to get it started. So see, I put this knob on the bottom. I can't see that knob, but it won't tear my material because it's coated. So here we go. I'm just going to show you if you can get it, if I can get it going. It's going to be so easy. It doesn't always work. But you get the idea. Sometimes you think you're worried. Okay, if you're young and you're in love and you want to propose to your significant other, some kind of a step forward into your relationship, before you propose that step forward, you need to think to yourself, what if that person isn't on board with this? Look at this. What if that person is not on board with this step? You could get your heart crushed, or you could plan ahead and think, maybe it's not time. Maybe if you cope ahead and you say, what's the worst that could happen? The worst that could happen is the person could say no, and then what? How are you going to deal with it? If you already know in advance how you're going to deal with it, like maybe it's you want to go on a vacation with your spouse, and you've got all these plans, but you have to get him on board, and he comes up, and before you do it, you have to think to yourself, he or she might not want to spend the money. He or she might not want to do it. So what are you going to do? Are you going to just lose it and destroy your relationship with this person? Or are you going to realize that vacation isn't so important? But it's important to you to think ahead. Maybe you want a house. Maybe you put an offer in for a house, and you put everything you've got on the line for it, including selling your house. And you think, what's going to happen if I don't get this house? Where can I move? What steps can I take? If you can think and plan for the steps that you need to take for your cope ahead, and if you can live with it, if you can deal with it, like, well, I'm going to have to live in an apartment until I get the house that I want or that is usable, because I've already sold my house. So you plan ahead and you think, but if you're not planning ahead, then it hits you like you're blindsided and go, oh, what am I going to do? Life is like that. Almost every plan, everything that you need in life, you can always cope ahead. What if that doesn't happen? And it makes life a lot smoother. I tell you, another way to cope ahead in life is, what if the end of time happens? What if we are in the ends of time? What if this is the tribulation? What are you going to do? Who are you going to turn to? One cope ahead is already have your salvation set in place with Yahusha. Already have his name sealed on your forehead. Already be immersed in water to be covered by the blood of the Lamb. That's a major cope ahead for your eternity. What happens if suddenly the world ends and Yahusha shows up at your doorstep? What's your cope ahead? What's your plan? No worries, mate. I'm already immersed. I'm already on board. I am already a Nazarene. That's the best cope ahead anybody can have. I hope you think about it. I hope you plan on it. And probably most of you I'm talking to are already there on board with where I'm at. But you know what? You need to find somebody that's not on board, or at least be prepared for the questions that they're going to ask you when time comes. There's so many fires. Yahusha is already burning the earth. He's doing it slow right now, trying to wake people up. But it's going to get worse. It's not going to stop. Canada's been burning for months, and Hawaii is burning, and Florida is burning, and Texas is burning. Who's next? And where there's not burning, there's flooding and landslides, because the burning destroys the trees and there's nothing to hold the land. So then he's bringing on the water to wash the land out. You've got to have a plan of action. My plan is to be ready to know that I am saved in the blood of Yahusha, and I know his name is Yahusha, and I teach others his name as much as I can. That's my cope ahead, folks. Come join me. I love you. Hallelujah. Baruch haba b'shem Yahuwah. Yahusha's coming back fast. Hallelujah.